All right, everybody, what is going on? Good evening. I know I'm a little bit late with this video, but better late than never. And we've got a few more edge rushers to get through here. We're now into the third round. These are guys that are roughly evaluated to go at some point in the third round. So certainly some guys here that the Seahawks may be circling the wagons around. So let's open things up with Romelo Height of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Teammates with another very highly touted edge rusher in this class, of course, but certainly not the better of the two is Romello. 25 years old, and that's kind of a main reason right there. He's already going to be 25 before he plays a snap in the NFL, and he's also pretty undersized. He's sub 240, so he's going to be one of the lightest edge rushers in football. Short arms, not particularly tall. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It can be, but it can also be a perfectly fine thing. Hands are kind of small as well for whatever that's worth. And honestly, for a guy this small, he did not have the greatest testing. The 40 is pretty good. The jumps were great, right? Like for 39-inch vert, 10-foot, 5-inch broad, that's great. But a 1.63 10-yard split, that has to at least concern you a little bit. This is a small guy. He can't be doing mediocre first steps off the snap. Now, most big boards put him in the third. ESPN actually has him in like the late fifth, early sixth, and the Draft Network has him in the second. Aggregate puts him in the third. That seems to be about where he's landing. He's coming off a big breakout year for the Red Raiders. 11 and a half tackles for loss, 10 sacks, a couple forced fumbles, 62 pressures. And hold on, let me fix that real quick. All right, yeah, sorry about that. 62 pressures last year, which is really good. 32 the year before is still pretty decent. So good player, good production in college. Now, the first step quickness that I just talked about with the 10-yard split, it does show up on tape. I don't think it's bad. So it's just going to be one of those things where maybe the testing doesn't indicate what you're getting on the field. Explosive mover. He has explosive movement skills. He comes into the league with a set of moves and fakes that are definitely going to help him. He is a legitimate pass rusher. He's not just a pure speed guy or a pure power guy or anything like that. He's high effort and goes until the whistle tells him to stop. He should fit in as a stand-up edge. He can cover. I think he has cover skills. He can move in space and handle zone drops at least. And he's got some bend around the corner as well. So there is plenty to like about him as a pass rusher. But yeah, sub 240, you are definitely dealing with a guy who is probably not going to be that useful against the run. You're dealing with a guy who is, even by the standards of another defense, kind of undersized. And he's not long, so shedding, he doesn't shed blockers all that well. He doesn't use his hands as well as you would like. And how much better is he going to get? He's already 25 years old. How much is he going to improve? I don't know. It's a flawed player. And it's not like he's a complete physical freak to make up for his shortcomings physically, right? Like he's sub 240, but he's not that fast. So a little bit of a tough one here. There's definitely a place in the world for Romelo Height. Don't get me wrong. He will be good somewhere. Somebody will get something out of him. But I don't think this team is looking for guys like this. And even beyond that, I see some issues here. So I would say he is worth probably about a middle third round pick with his pass rushing ability, but I don't think I would spend a mid-round, third-round pick on him in Seattle. I can't imagine him fitting in Seattle with the way that he plays. Okay, moving on to our next third-round guy. It's Joshua Josephs of the Volunteers, Tennessee, 23 years old. Another undersized guy, 242, but he does have long arms, so that's kind of nice, right? He actually does have some length. You look at the big boards, mostly third, a little bit of second, a fourth. Aggregate puts him in the third. Not a lot of production the last couple years. A lot of tackles, I guess, a decent amount of tackles for loss, but only 5.5 sacks combined. He's made a lot of plays, 6 passes batted down and 6 forced fumbles. 54 pressures, not great. So not what you would necessarily like. PFF grades have been great though. So it's a mixed bag. Got to work through a little bit of the traffic here. So one thing about Joshua Josephs that is nice is that he has a frame that can support a little more weight. So if he decides to fill out his frame a little bit, he'll probably end up in a place where this is not so much an issue. His length is very useful. He can shed blockers really well. He's really good at getting off blockers. And he's got some toughness to him. He's not just one of these small speed guys. He's willing to play through contact, willing to get physical. He does use his hands well. I think that he's a pretty skilled player. And he's a pretty good athlete. I'm not going to say he's an elite athlete, which is part of the reason why I want him to bulk up, because I think he needs to give you something there. But I do think that Joshua Josephs is a pretty good athlete. Now, he's not a very fluid mover. Like, if you look at him, it feels like a lot of his rushes are the same as his last rush. Like, he doesn't vary things up enough. He doesn't vary up his track enough. He doesn't vary up his route enough. So there are some issues there. He is undersized right now. He does need to add muscle. So while I think that he probably will, it's worth noting that he needs to do it, and it could derail his rookie season a little bit. He will be an issue against the run until he bulks up, and maybe even after that, for all we know. And he is going to have to expand his movement tree. He is going to have to improve his skill, his bag of tricks. So Joshua Josephs, I see a guy here that is going to need some time to get better. And given that he's already going to be 23 when the season starts, it's not ideal. But I see some potential here, mostly because I think he can add weight without losing that much. But at the end of the day, for the moment, he is a undersized speed rusher. He's got tight hips. He didn't produce that much in college. There's really not that much I can get excited about here. So I would wait until about the 4th. Maybe I could go late 3rd in this class. But I'm not really super into this one right now. Joshua Josephs, as I look at it, yes, there's potential, but you need a few things to really go your way for him to get there. Okay, final guy for this video is going to be L.T. Overton of Alabama, a guy who was hyped as maybe a first-round pick before the season started. That didn't happen, but still should be a top 100 pick, 21 years old out of Alabama. Bigger guy, 274, so he's definitely going to be one of the bigger edges, maybe too big to play stand-up. Depends on what you're looking for. And for this Seahawks team, I would say he's got a shot. 6'3", 33.25-inch arms, decent, big hands. Tested. It was brave of him to even run a 40, and it was bad, but it's not surprising when you look at how big he is. You've got some 3rd rounders, some 4th rounders. Walter Football loves him still. They have him in the early 2nd. Probably a 3rd round pick, though, according to the aggregate. And the production over the last couple years has definitely been disappointing. 6 total sacks. 84 tackles is really good, so it's not all bad, but in terms of making like splash plays, there's not a lot. He had way more pressure in 2024 than 2025. PFF grade was a lot higher as well. So he kind of fell on his face in 2025. I think that would be reasonable to say. So yeah. Now, the positives with LT Overton are pretty easy. He's very powerful and he plays very violently. So he's going to go through guys. He's going to be willing to get into tussles. He's going to be willing to really get into it with these guys. So no issues there. He's somebody who knows how to get low and use leverage. He can get beneath the pads of blockers and win that way. He uses his hands with skill. He's a good hand fighter. I think he'll offer some versatility. He's going to be able to play inside. He's going to be able to play as a 5 tech. I don't know if he can be a stand-up edge. That's a little bit tough at the NFL level at that weight, but I do think he's going to be able to offer an assortment of things. And if you're running a 3-4 defense, maybe he'll end up playing defensive end, like the 2-eye stuff. He can cover more ground than you would expect from his size because of his motor. He's got a high effort, and he works through blocks. Now, if you're talking about him as just like a pass rusher, it's not great. He's not a clean fit. This is definitely somebody who probably belongs as maybe a part-time 3-tech, somebody who plays inside against interior linemen. If you try to put him on the edge, I don't know what's going to happen. Probably not anything great. And he could end up being a tweener that can't figure out where he's supposed to go at the NFL level. He's maybe a little too sluggish to play on the edge, but not big and strong enough to play on the inside. That's a real possibility. Really poor first step. His first step is sluggish as all get out. He's only a good athlete by the standards of his large size, so you have to understand what you're getting into here. and he just didn't produce that much in college. So you've got concerns. So really looking at it, I wasn't expecting a lot here. I could see Overton being a good early down defender, somebody who plays the run well, and then you take him off the field on passing downs. The question is this a little too much even for McDonald with his preference for edges? He likes power guys, but is this too much? And look, I mean, I don't think that this physical profile is radically different than late career Jadeveon Clowney, so I wouldn't rule it out. So I'd go late third round. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I see somebody who is probably worth about what the experts say. Late third rounder, can't go too wrong with it. Early down, edge rusher, maybe some versatility to slide inside on passing downs. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your day. And sorry this video is late. More stuff coming tomorrow.